Honorable members, right honorable Mr. Speaker,
Let's remain standing for parliamentary prayer.
Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliament for the welfare of society, good of all human lives upon it, and the just government of its people, we beseech you to look with your abundant favor upon us, your servants, whom we have entrusted with the performance of such important trust in this community. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our attention and deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and the glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this region, and of those whose interest you have committed to us. Amen.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable colleagues, good morning. I take this opportunity to welcome you to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. We had been here in 2018, and 7 years have gone. The assembly has held here in January 2018. I once again wish to salute and thank His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, for accepting to grace and officially open our sittings, despite his busy schedule, and for the fatherly words of wisdom delivered to us on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024 at the State House in Entebbe. I also wish on behalf of you, dear colleagues, to thank His Excellency for the historic souvenir that we gave to each one of us, that he gave to each one of us from EAC Political Federation during the first EAC. We look forward to his continued guidance as we carry out our legislative businesses. I also thank our hosts, the Right Honorable Anita Among, the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, the members and staff of the Parliament of Uganda, for the very warm reception that we have received since our arrival in this beautiful country. Thank you for granting us unconditional access not only to the precincts of Parliament, but also for the excellent facilities such as this chamber, committee rooms, and offices. Thank you so much for the lunch you have extended to the members and staff throughout the period of our sitting in Kampala. We cannot take it for granted. I also take this opportunity on behalf of the Assembly to congratulate Right Honorable Anita upon being elected the Vice Chairperson of the Forum of African Speakers, and President of Legislators, recently held in Accra, Ghana. His election is a true testimony of Uganda's growing influence in African parliamentary diplomacy and the unity for sustainable development. I also wish to commend you for being development-oriented and educationist who has empowered the Uganda and East Africa through skilling, provision of free health care services through the establishment of a health facility and promotion of a girl child, among others. I further commend you for allowing your parliament to be very active. Your parliament is one of the most active and vibrant parliaments in the region. Thank you for being a true leader. To you, my colleagues of Eala Uganda chapter, we are grateful for all the support and coordination that Eala holds its sittings here in Uganda. Thank you for really being available to ensure that we are comfortable and feel at home.
No. Perfect.
I therefore implore all committees to ensure that they finalize all business before them and the report to plenary as per the program. I have undertaken on behalf of the Assembly. One, I made a visit to the Federal Parliament of Somalia on 22nd July 2024. I was accompanied by Honorable Farada Diko, Deputy Clerk, and Senior Public Relations Officer. I attended the 26th Uganda Annual Prayer Breakfast on 8th October 2024 at the State House in Uganda, Entebbe, Uganda. I also attended the 149th Assembly of the IPU, accompanied by Honorable George Odongo from 13th to 18th October 2024 in Geneva, Switzerland. And on a sad note, one of our colleagues, Honorable Veronica Babidige Kadogo, she recently lost her dear sister. May her soul rest in eternal peace. Honorable members, we have a delegation from the Pan-African Parliament, PAP, from South Africa, which is led by Honorable Miles Sampa. They are here on a benchmarking mission to Eala. Please join me in welcoming them. We have Miles Sampa, who's the chair. We have Honorable Said Ibrahim Said, Deputy Chair. Please stand for recognition. We have Felix Riniga, who's with them. We have Honorable Ambassador Emmanuel Lowila. We have Honorable Ngwasi Kamani. Honorable Ngwasi Kamani is from Tanzania, and Honorable Sampa is from Sahrawi Republic. How do you call it in English? Miles Sampa is from Zambia. Ibrahim Said from Sahrawi, Felix from Burundi, Emmanuel Lowila from Nigeria, Ngwasi Kamani from South Sudan, Ngwasi Kamani from Tanzania, and we have Honorable Nikes Kochami Fagnon. This from Benin, and Honorable Maboiketlo Maliehe, and the Honorable Professor Mahamat Anadif Yusuf. Then we have they have the staff, Dr. Ndindi Abano, and also Honorable Samba Patrick Oshabe, Mr. Obiwe Omriegi, Mrs. Beza Semuguruka, Hategeka Ernest, Martin Kadu, Oswald Ndolerine, Moses Karuhanga, Ibrahim Sali, and Ayub Twahir. Please, let's welcome them again. Now we can proceed.
The third item in the order paper, laying of papers.
Honorable George Odongo.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the address of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, on the rationale, vision, and guidance on the EAC integration, the East African Legislative Assembly, on Tuesday, 22nd October 2022. Beg to lay.
I am informed that our honorable ministers are not here to lay their papers. Then we proceed to the next. Honorable Sankok.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the report of the Committee on Accounts on the oversight for the Inter-University Council of East Africa and the Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Honorable members, I suspend this sitting. It is not for 10 minutes or more, it's only for 2 or 3 minutes. It is because you have a guest, and it will just to go and pick her and bring her here. She's a special one. You have guessed that she's the Right Honorable Anita Among. So I suspend for 5 minutes. Don't leave the chamber. I'm coming back. You can sit.
Fourth item in the agenda paper, a proclamation by the Speaker.
Honorable members, amidst us today is the Right Honorable Anita Amongin, Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, and our host. I have, in accordance with the provision of the Article 54 of the treaty, invited the Right Honorable Speaker, Anita Among, to address the Assembly. I now proceed to make the following proclamation to welcome her presence in the Assembly. Whereas Article 54, Item 1 of the treaty provides that the Speaker of the Assembly may invite any person to attend the Assembly, notwithstanding that he or she is not a member of the Assembly, if in his or her opinion, the business of the Assembly renders his or her presence desirable. And whereas, in the opinion of the Speaker, the attendance of the presence and presence in the assembly of the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda is desirable in accordance with the business now before the assembly. Now, therefore, it is with great pleasure and honor on your behalf, honorable members, to welcome Right Honorable Anita Among, Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, in this assembly, given under my hand this Tuesday, the 29th day of October, 2024.
Item number 5, the order paper, address by the Right Honorable Anita Among, Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, preceded by welcome remarks by the Right Honorable Speaker Eala.
The Right Honorable Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly, the members of the East African Legislative Assembly, our visitors who are in the VIP lounge, I want to welcome all of you to Uganda, which is a part of Africa. And I also want to welcome you to Parliament of Uganda, which is a people-centered parliament with the 556 members. I want to welcome you to this official opening of the Eala Plenary, sitting that marks the first meeting of the third session of the Fifth Assembly. You're most welcome. On behalf of the members of Parliament of Uganda, we heartily wish you a well deliberations and we welcome you to this Parliament. And this is our chambers, which is now your chambers, which we have given to you. First, permit me to salute His Excellency, the President of Republic of Uganda, for being on the forefront of promoting the East African Legislative Assembly and the East African community and integration agenda. I want to congratulate him and thank him. His unwavering support to Eala since its inception in 2001 is a testimony of the confidence that he holds in the organ and the institution of the East African community. Dear members of Eala, your presence here reflects the unity that binds us together with aspirations of the states and citizenry that from East African community. Today, you are responding to the clarion call of our forefathers of furthering the struggle on attainment of the East African integration with the pillars of custom union, the monetary union, the common market, and the political federation. That is what we are doing, and we are doing as per our forefathers, the Nyereres of those days. Challenges notwithstanding, East African community has made a significant achievement since its establishment. We now have the Common Market Protocol, which has facilitated the movement of goods and services. We now have the 13 one-stop border centers and the East African passports that we are using the common passports in East Africa. These successes are as a result of the efforts of the regional assembly and enacting the progressive laws that is the cross-border trade and movement. And we want to thank Eala for that. Right Honorable Speaker and members of Parliament, the idea behind the Common Market Protocol was created as a single market for member state countries to ensure that there is free movement of goods and services and people, to eliminate the tariffs and non-tariff barriers. But the protocol is not being respected by other member countries or member states. If we have agreed to use a machine-readable national ID to cross borders, why should that be a problem with other countries? We should respect what we decide as institutions and for the good of our countries. While substantial procedural and institutional progress has been made towards realization of each of the pillars, remember the 4 pillars I talked of, a lot more effort requires to be put to eliminate the barriers and ensure that we have a united community. I therefore want to re-echo my call for unity and cohesion among partner states. If we stand together as a united East Africa, then we shall overcome our regional problems. Unity will unlock our potential to find the local solutions for our shared problems. Where there are disagreements, let us not shy from addressing them, because peace and security among member states is a catalyst to economic prosperity and political federation. Political wars have riped nations. Such wars should not have place in East Africa, especially among the East African states. We must embrace peace and have unity as the community for a prosperous East African community. Right Honorable Speaker and members of Eala, we are looking forward to the legislative business of this sitting, and I'm already excited, having seen the strategic bills that this assembly will pass during this sitting in Kampala. It will be a Kampala declaration, such as standardization bill, the accreditation and conformity assessment bill, the anti-female genital mutilation bill, among others. However, to create a meaningful legislation, it's imperative that member states domesticate these laws once passed. It should not only be passed here and remain here. Each country must take the law and be domesticated in their different countries. And that should be done by the ministers that represent East Africa. The Parliament of Uganda assures you of our unwavering support towards the efforts of transforming the East African community into a stable, competitive, and sustainable region. Right Honorable Speaker and members, this is not my day. And I must say, I am sorry for interfering with the session. It is your day for you to fulfill your constitutional mandate with those few words. Once more, I want to thank you for coming to Uganda. Secondly, I want to make a correction that my name is not Amongin. My name is Among without ing. So the member you have is Amongin. I am Among AAA. And I bring you greetings from Accra, where I was voted in as a vice chairperson of the African Union speakers, and as African Union or as Africa, we are determined to have one Africa, one destiny. Our problems of Africa must be solved locally in Africa. They will not be solved by other people. Just like the East African problems must be solved locally by the East African community. It should not get out of East Africa. With those few words, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this chance to say a word to the honorable members, and also to tell the honorable members, while in Uganda, feel at home. This is your home. Uganda has the most loving people in the continent, and I believe they will treat you to the best. You may not even want to go back. You may not even want to go back, but I wish you a fruitful deliberations. I say all this for God and my country.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable. When we conceived this idea of having our sittings in Uganda, we received overwhelming support from the leadership of the Parliament of Uganda, who graciously accepted to share with us the parliamentary facilities with all the courtesies that you have enjoyed since our arrival. Right Honorable Speaker, we recognize your parliament as one of the most active and vibrant in the region. Congratulations for that. We also, before you came, we also talked about your prize. Being elected as the vice chair of the Forum of African Speakers and president of legislators recently in Accra, Ghana, this is a recognition that your leadership from East Africa is recognized by all Africa. And you're not the only one. We in East Africa, we are happy, we're proud of women leadership. You are the Speaker of Uganda, and your parliament is performing. We also have the Speaker of Tanzania, Right Honorable Tulia Ackson, who is not only doing well in Tanzania, but who's leading the world. We in the IPU. We also have the Speaker of South Sudan. Is it the lower or the lower house? National Assembly. And she is a woman, an East African woman, and she's doing well. And recently in Rwanda, a woman has been elected as the Speaker of the National Assembly. We East Africans, we recognize your leadership, and above all of you, we have a head of state, the President of United Republic of Tanzania is a woman. We're inspiring Africa. Right Honorable Speaker, we also recognize how you're fully involved in education, in empowering the Uganda and East African through skilling. Look, your house is the one who has free health care services. And we in Arusha and Eala, we wish to come and learn from you because we need to implement these facilities. We know that you're promoting health and facility of girls and children, among others. With all of this, Right Honorable Speaker, we thank you again. We thank your team. We thank your house for being with us, welcoming us, and we feel home. Uganda is like Arusha. My members have been integrating since they have been here, and will not stop saying thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. With this, honorable members, let's suspend again for 5 minutes. We'll have to get a photo, a souvenir, a photo with Right Honorable Speaker outside on the, maybe the clerk will guide us. You will help us. We would like to take it immediately. Then we come back to the chamber to resume our businesses. Thank you. Sorry? Good, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd forgotten to tell you that the vision of East African communities, you widen, tighten, and deepen. So while you're in Uganda, you must deepen, tighten, and widen.
Thank you.
And as legislators of East African community, as legislators of the East African community, we always have a principle that you must leave the community better than the way you got it. You must leave a legacy and say, while we're in the East African Legislative Assembly, this is what we did. And this is what is helping this nation or helping the community. So I want to urge the members, and I want to urge you, Right Honorable Speaker, leave a legacy in Eala. I can proudly tell you, even if I left Parliament of Uganda tomorrow, I will have left a legacy, which cannot be wrapped in the books of the history of Uganda. I wish you all a nice time as you widen, deepen, and tighten.
House to resume, you can sit.
Order number 6, item number 6 in the order paper. Motion on the address of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, on the rationale, vision, and guidance on the EAC integration to the East African Legislative Assembly on Tuesday, 22nd October, 2024, by way of motion.
Honorable members, before the mover of the motion, before calling him, something wrong happened. And you didn't even remind me that. But we are human. I recognize the speakers, the head of state, but our SG was here. I apologize for this. We are human, but you are the first female who has been an SG in the history, and you will remain the #1 as female SG in East Africa. And you are doing well. We're working together, collaborating well. We recognize it. So I'm sorry. I apologize. With this, we proceed. George Odongo.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, motion for a resolution of the Assembly to appreciate the address of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, on the rationale, vision, and guidance regarding the EAC integration during his address to the East African Legislative Assembly on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024, moved under Article 11(1), 49 and 59(1) of the treaty and Rule number 26 of the Rules of Procedure of the Assembly. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Move your motion. Do you have seconders? The whole house. You can proceed.
Whereas the East African Legislative Assembly is holding its first meeting of the third session of the Fifth Assembly from the 21st October to the 12th of November 2024 in the Republic of Uganda, Kampala. And whereas His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda and member of the Summit of EAC Heads of State, graciously agreed to officially open the first meeting of the third session of the Fifth Assembly and address the Assembly during a special sitting of the Assembly held in the State House in Entebbe, Uganda, on the 22nd October 2024, and recognizing that the roles of members of the summit include providing impetus, guidance, and directions to the community, and grateful to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the clarity of vision and guidance on the optimal policies, strategies, and frameworks required to drive the vision for a prosperous, competitive, secure, stable, and politically united East Africa, which was contained in the address of the President of the Assembly. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Assembly that the Assembly appreciates the address of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, on the rationale, vision, and guidance regarding the EAC integration during his address to the East African Legislative Assembly on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024, at the State House in Entebbe, Uganda. I beg to move.
Now you justify your motion.
Right Honorable Speaker, since the 60s, President Museveni has been at the forefront of the struggle for African liberation. He has done this with passion, and when he speaks from a point of knowledge, experience, and action. And indeed, on the 22nd of October this year, this assembly benefited from his very deep insights on the three major drivers of African integration. Right Honorable Speaker, President Museveni is our institutional memory. He's our black box on matters of EAC. In 1967, when this community collapsed, there were tensions within the summit. We had Idi Amin here in Uganda. We had Nyerere in Tanzania. And we also had Kenyatta in Kenya. And these tensions were ideological. And the tensions intensified and eventually led to the collapse of the East African community. It's therefore gratifying that after several years, and indeed, by the way, in November this year, we'll be celebrating 25 years of the new EAC. In 1999, President Museveni, President Nkapa, and President Moi revived the East African community under the current EAC treaty. And from the address of the president, he stated, he was very clear. He said Africa's struggle, and indeed that of East Africa, is a struggle that should be driven by a sense of strategic security. He underscored the need for East African community to invest extensively on our capacity to secure our people from the global pressures. The collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1986 symbolically marked the end of the Cold War, but it also ushered in great power competition. And with great power competition came a lot of pressure, because the global powers represented here by China in the East and America in the West are grappling to build power through geopolitical influences. So if the EAC does not read and does not smell the coffee, we are in trouble. And this is the kind of information that the president was giving the assembly, that we need to build the necessary sophistication, the necessary software, the necessary hardware to be able to build capacity to sustain our growth, to protect our culture, to protect our resources, and to make sure that we invest these resources responsibly for our generations. Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President also told us about the need for us to drive prosperity. Writing in the Financial Times, Wolf a British journalist once said that if 1.4 billion Chinese decided to prosper, nobody is going to stop them. China will be unstoppable. Indeed, Right Honorable Speaker, if the 350 million East Africans decided to embrace prosperity and invested in ensuring that we deepen our trade relations, we deepen our social relations, that we prosper, the East African community and indeed Africa will be unstoppable. So prosperity is the common thread that should put our people together as Africa. And we should be, as an assembly, the facilitators, the enablers, creating the necessary environment for East Africans to deepen their trade relations, for East Africans to deepen their social relations as a key driver of prosperity. Democracy and human rights. Right Honorable Speaker, there is no peace, there is no security, there is no trade if we do not build a strong democracy in Africa and in East Africa. Good governance is the software that enables trade, that enables social integration. Our democracy index is not very good, but we are building it. So we must jealously build the pillars of good governance, because this is the only insurance that we have to sustain peace, to sustain trade between us, to deepen our social relations, empowering our people, creating the necessary, investing in the necessary social infrastructure like health education for our people. The president's emphasis is basically to say that the future is in our hands as East African community, as Africa, that we should not look outside for people to come and give us the solutions. The solutions have got to be from within, and that takes leadership. The Assembly has got to invest in courage to make the decisions, however difficult those decisions may be, for as long as those decisions can expand the boundaries of freedom, can expand the boundaries of choice, can expand the boundaries of trade, can deepen our political and social relations. The baton has been given unto us as an assembly, and each one of us must take this responsibility very, very seriously. President Museveni's generation has made their mark. It is time then for us to make sure that we build on that to inspire the generations that come, but most importantly, that when we have the opportunity, as we do right now, that we should, at every one point, be looking at ourselves so that we mirror each other, so that we mirror our community, that we legislate with our people in our minds. Thank you so much. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. I now propose the motion that this assembly do resolve to record its comment to appreciate the address of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, on the rationale, vision, and guidance regarding the East African community integration during his address to this East African Legislative Assembly on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024. Debate is open. Clerk. Give the list, the names. You have also to consider your left side. There's no opposition here. No, you are not. You are one. Thank you. We start by who? The list given to me start by Honorable Sankok, Honorable Kadogo, Honorable Dr. Matthew, Honorable Kanini, 5, Honorable Gatpan, 6, Siranda, Honorable Siranda, 7, Honorable Caroline, 8, Honorable Francine, 9, Honorable Kering, 10, Honorable Mugenyi, 11, Honorable Rose, 12, Honorable Fatuma, 13, Honorable Magembe. Let's start by Honorable Sankok. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable
Procedure.
Speaker.
Procedure.
I was in this house for the last 10 years, and it's nice to get back here, and it's quite a little bit different. Right, Honorable Speaker, my procedure issue is on, I think you let the clerk choose the people who will debate on this motion, and he followed the arrow. I happen to sit in this row. It's just procedure that the clerk was able to jump my name. So I would like to raise a procedure issue that my name be included on the debate of the president's speech. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Amungin. You'll be
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity of this very important motion of the speech of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the father figure of the East African community, and a man that we adore. Honorable Speaker, listening to the President in State House in Entebbe, I realized that knowledge comes with age. He had no written speech, but whatever he spoke was in his fingertips, and he was oozing with knowledge. Honorable Speaker, I grasped a few points. One of them is that we are dealing and we are listening to a Pan-African, and a Pan-African who believe in the unity of Africa. in the Nyerere line of thought. After independence, there was the call for the United States of Africa, but there were two lines of thoughts. One line of thought was that of Julius Nyerere, which was for us to have economic regional building blocks that will eventually form the building blocks of the United States of Africa. The other line of thought was that of Kwame Nkrumah, who wanted Africa to unite at a go and have a treaty of 54 states. Honorable Speaker, our president, listening from him, he actually was for the view that we have stronger economic blocks, which currently we have, that of regional economic blocks like EAC. EAC, we have done our part. It is now for us to keep the wheel moving and unite Africa into the United States of Africa, having EAC as one of the building blocks. Honorable Speaker, again, from the speech of the president, I realize it does not only have the institutional memory, but he warned our people to unite and be one and eliminate the colonial boundaries. Honorable Speaker, he also wanted all the EAC partner states to be and to obey the treaty and to keep up to speed with the obligation that are required for you to be a member of East African Community, which is not compulsory. It is voluntary that you join voluntarily. I was, Honorable Speaker, very happy when I had the Excellency, the President, saying that he's a hard worker, is not a parasite. The word parasite, Honorable Speaker, was not a bad one, especially if we have to honor our obligation of being part of East African Community. Honorable Speaker, lastly, the President insisted on the community opening trades so that our people can move freely, can trade freely, and tap on the potential that we have as East African Community. East African Community have 6,500 kilometers of coastline. East African Community have 38 freshwater lakes. Unfortunately, those water lakes, we are using them to wash cars instead of using them for transport, tourism, agriculture, and also for fishing. Honorable Speaker, you also want us to take opportunity and to take that opportunity of having the two largest water towers in Africa, the Congo Belt and the Mao Belt. Honorable Speaker, the President was, and we wish that we will be listening to him if he can be giving us maybe half an hour session every year so that we can learn from him, so that we can be like him, because to us, he is our father figure of the East African Community. Honorable Speaker, I beg to support that the President, our President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is our father figure and will adopt him as the father figure of East African Community Economic Bloc. I beg to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sankok. The next will be Honorable Kadogo. But please, can you please remember that you have 5 minutes maximum?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to debate on the President's address. First of all, I want to start by thanking the President for his continued support for the EAC. He has supported EAC, and even when the EAC collapsed in 1967, he worked together with his counterparts to make sure that the EAC is restored. And he did not only make sure that EAC is restored, but he has worked hard to make sure that he widens the EAC from the initial 3 countries to the 8 countries. And he has also worked to make sure that EAC is not only widened, but it is also deepened. He has done that ably by making sure that he asserts to the bills that we pass in the East Africa Legislative Assembly, not only asserting to the bills, but also making sure that implementation of those laws that we pass at the regional parliament are implemented in our countries. President Museveni, in his address, he emphasized market integration. And the reason why he emphasized market integration, he said that market integration is very important for the development of the countries in the East Africa. And he gave an example that we are having excess products in our countries which need market. For example, in Uganda, we are producing a lot of milk, a lot of maize, and a lot of sugar, which can't only be consumed by Ugandans, but it can only be consumed by a bigger market. He also emphasized about trade within East Africa, that it will foster development, and also encourage the East African countries to trade within the East African territory. Lastly, I want to appreciate the East Africa Legislative Assembly, headed by the Speaker and the Council of Ministers and the honorable members of Parliament for bringing the Eala sitting in Uganda. It has created a lot of awareness, and I think this will contribute a lot towards the development of Uganda and East Africa at large. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Kadogo. Now, Honorable Matthias.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to that of our colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker, the speech of His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is a speech full of wisdom. He took us on board. He really asked us as parliamentarians from this East African community how we should think out of the box. We have to be the driving machines of our community, and we have to be united as one people, one nation, one East Africa. Right, Honorable Speaker, without taking too much, I would recommend and salute the Speaker, the speech of His Excellency President Museveni, and all of us to be brought on board and working together for the good destiny of this community and our continent in large. Thank you. And Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Matthias. Now the next, Honorable Gatpan, you have the floor. Kanini Kiga, yes, Honorable Kanini Kiga.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to add my voice in appreciating the speech by His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda. Honorable Speaker, for all of us who are there, you can't help but appreciate the wise counsel that we got from His Excellency the President. He took us down the memory lane, reminding us that even when we were not born in the 1967, when some of us were not born in 1967, our forefathers, led by the three founding fathers, Mzee Kenyatta, Mzee Julius Nyerere, and Milton Obote, came up with East Africa Community to bring the communities together, and they had clarity of mind as to where they wanted to take the community. But unfortunately, 10 years down the lane, the community collapsed for various reasons. Each country will blame the other, but the community collapsed. But we must thank the team that came after. His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi, and Mkapa, the President of the Republic of URT, that in the year 2000, looking back and seeing the vision that the forefathers had, decided to revive the East African community. And not just revive it as the three countries, but they expanded. Now we are 8, we were 3, now we are 8. And we keep on expanding. Why do we come together? How do we integrate? You integrate through trade. And I remember His Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, His Excellency, broke it down, so that we can understand that in the Banyankole tribe, produce milk, produce bananas, grow bananas, but you can't trade within yourself because your neighbor is also producing the same. But when you go to the bigger aspect of Uganda, you can get your bananas and give to or sell to other people who are not growing bananas. That is the kind of aspect that we need to see in the East Africa, that we have products sometimes in our country and in some areas of our country. We usually produce a lot of milk, and since we are not trading with the other parts of the country, we usually have a milk glut, where you are giving milk even to the dogs or even giving food to the dogs. Whereas that product can be traded with your neighbor. That is all what the president was telling us, that we need to trade with each other, and you cannot integrate without trading. The first aspect of integration is trade. The second one, Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, is also through intermarriage. Honorable Speaker, on Sunday, and I'm happy, Honorable Speaker, you are there, and together with other colleagues, were invited for a wedding, a very unique wedding, very good wedding, between a Ugandan and Rwandese. That is cultural integration. And you could clearly see, the mixing of the cultures. We spent the whole day and it was colorful, it was awesome. That is what we need to do and take the country forward. So with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we are not yet there. Our forefathers did their part. Our current leaders are doing their part, and also the legislative arm. We are also going to do our part to make sure that the 4 pillars are achieved. Already we have done 2. The 2, of course, there are challenges, the non-tariff barriers and all that, but we will make sure that the monetary, within our regime, the monetary union is achieved so that we are able to get the political federation as we move forward. Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit and move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kanini Kiga. Now the next.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Let me add my voice to the colleagues appreciating the speech from our father, His Excellency Kaguta Museveni. This was my second time of having the privilege to listen to his speech. And during these 2 speeches that I've had an opportunity to attend, I've been asking myself and reflecting about 2 things. One, is the example, a practical example that His Excellency the President has always mentioned. Is about a community in East Africa called Banyankole. So it represents our vision with that example of a community. If you can produce something in quantity and you cannot be able to sell, it means you need to look for a partner in trade. So our community, based on this example, is not only market-driven, nor it only people-centered, but according to our President, Kaguta Museveni, it is about prosperity-oriented integration. We must be prosperity-oriented society. The other aspect that I've learned from the lecture, and that is very important to East African, is the emphasis that he made on our unity. That our integration as East Africans or Africans is not a matter of emotions. It's a matter of life and death. So how does it become a matter of life and death? We are the legislators in East Africa. We have a responsibility to sensitize our community about the benefits of our region. We must focus on changing perceptions and mindsets to create unity that we want as East African. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, President Museveni has also emphasized that African families, a single African family must be a wealth-creating unit in our society. Individual must focus on wealth creation. How do we do that? We need to unite, we need to focus, we need to appreciate our vision. Right, Honorable Speaker, in all this, where His Excellency the President is reminding us of our journey, that is my second reflection in terms of examples. When I was here in 2018, I received a big newspaper from His Excellency the President. All of us were given that piece of a newspaper. I kept mine. Recently also, I have got my picture that has got the copy of the same newspaper. That is reminding us about our journey. Where did we come from? So without appreciating where you came from, and then you cannot be able to define your future. That is another point that I have taken from His Excellency address, which is very important. Right, Honorable Speaker, we should not be bogged down by our sovereignties. This notion of sovereignty is challenging our integration agenda. Particularly what one of the famous writers and American diplomat called Stephen Krasner called the domestic sovereignty, where you have authority and control, promoting protectionism. We have to open up to appreciate the aspect of our international legal sovereignty and interdependence. As a region, we should emphasize in appreciating ourselves as one people with one destiny. Right, Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has successfully fought the politics of identity. I think this is something that we have as East African to appreciate. That politics of identity, be it from tribe, from partisan participation, must be fought. Successfully has done by His Excellency the President. We cannot go anywhere minus our unity as people of East Africa and as African. Right, Honorable Speaker, together with my colleagues, I think it is a high time for us to speak as East African, to reach out to one another, to appreciate our strengths, be it economic, social, or cultural strengths. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable member, we have this tool. Clerk, how does it work? The microphone.
Honorable Speaker, when we turn this, it will take 5 minutes for the flour to come to the lower part. So members should be guided.
Please try to look at it and you get your 5 minutes. You know how it works, I know, as a Honorable Black.
My name is Lucas, the other name, so many things always start with me. And
you have the floor.
Very appreciative. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to, first of all, appreciate you and the entire leadership for thinking that this is very special for us to have this very special session to appreciate the head of state, a summit member. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues on onset to support the motion by the Honorable George Stephen Odong. This speech by the President of the Republic of Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, was more of wisdom. I remember I did not see him with the written notes, but I saw the leader that was speaking for integration because he's an anchorman for East African integration. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say a few things. First of all, the President said that the question of strategic security is very important for this region. We can create and speak about the market. We can love the East African community, but the question of developing the strategic security is very important for our people to benefit from the market. I picked that from the President, and I believe that it is very important that we love. First of all, to have security, we must love. And he said we must love Kenya, we must love Uganda, we must love South Sudan, we must love Burundi, we must love Rwanda, we must love Somalia, we must love DRC. Once we love ourselves, then we create the strategic security for our people. Right Honorable Speaker, the President said that hii kazi sio ya ubunge. This job is not only for members of parliament and kazi and those in secretariat and those in whatever departments, but this is work which is life and survival. Right Honorable Speaker, we as members of parliament are doing this work not because it's for survival, not because it's work, but we are trying to contribute to the survival of the East African community. The President emphasized that we don't only look at this as a job, but it is our responsibility to make sure that we work, we make a contribution, Right Honorable Speaker, for the East Africans. Right Honorable Speaker, the President emphasized on the question of producing services for the East Africans. It is imperative upon us as leaders of this community that we mobilize people to produce services. We mobilize people to produce goods so that they can benefit from the market that the East African community has produced. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the President emphasized that we support the African free trade area, free continental trade area. But he also said that despite of that, we must work on a political federation, because he said we are the same as East Africans. And you know, he sampled by using the Honorable Kachamba here and by using all of us in terms of the languages. And he said that building our political federation will give us a way in building a united army, in building a united defense services and programs, but also developing strategic in terms of IT and going to the moon, so that people are not above us on the moon, the Americans, but also we design what is on the moon for us to build for the people. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the President emphasized the need
for continuous engagement. And I think it's high time that we have the question on the bill on the question on conflict resolution, mediation in the region. The region is torn apart. The spirit into which the president is speaking about calls upon for the region to design a strategy for mediating, a strategy for engagement, so that our people that we serve benefit from the common market. It's very important, Right Honourable Speaker, that when we have all these countries together, our people benefit and the businesses benefit when we are together. I believe, Right Honourable Speaker, that we'll continue to engage, and the President pledged and promised that there will be another engagement on a full day. Maybe we'll have him enough for us to continue engaging, and Right Honourable Speaker, learning that he has wisdom for this nation. I continue to believe that President Museveni entirely dreams, sleeps, and walks the East African integration. I beg to submit and support the motion, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you for some of the motion. Now, Honorable Caroline.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to appreciate the speech by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to this assembly on the 22nd of this month. Mr. Speaker, I've lost my voice because of the AC. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency reminded us, as our colleagues have already said, that integration is a matter of life and death. And he emphasized the 3 historical missions that we have. I'll talk about one historical mission. I'll comment on the strategic security. But before that, I would like to state that, as Honorable Kanidi said, he took me and I think us all down memory lane. And for me, it was emotional. When I looked at the 3 presidents, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the late, and Obote and Kenyatta, and I looked at what the dream that they had, announcing at that time in the 60s, a political federation, which never happened. It was extremely emotional. And then several years later, we are here and standing on the shoulders of the giants, one of whom is His Excellency President Kaguta Museveni, who dreamed and brought this dream into existence. And we are here, it's our mission to help it happen. But he reminded us that, again, it's a matter of life and death, not whatever we are doing, we should keep that in our minds. And when I looked at, when he took us down memory lane, I just recalled the way he described how so many things are happening when we are seated here. But Vasco da Gama visited when he went around the Cape of Good Hope in 1498, was it? And then moved to the East African coast. Nobody was aware that 400 years later, something would happen. That was actually, I don't know how I can describe. I was just getting goosebumps because a lot happens and we don't even know. Even today, we don't know what is happening when people are going to the moon. We don't know what is happening. But then he also reminded us, the other emotional thing was that there are so many similarities and compatibilities that we have. When he spoke the different languages and spoke to the different members of parliament and used, we found that some words were similar amongst all of us. It reminded us that let's build on let's start from where we have the commonalities, the similarities, and build from there. Yes, we are going baby steps from the customs union, the common market, the monetary union, a few steps and the bills which we've talked about, which are in place, and institutions that are in place. And then even the elements of the political federation are there. We have the one East African passport. We have the IDs that are being used. We have the single tourism visas for the, which is a step in the right direction. But now my final comment and where I'm going to stress is on the area of strategic security, especially when we look at the challenges that we are facing today. I always, my passion, as you always know, is the common challenges that we are faced with, in the challenges like climate change that we together have to deal with. We share borders, we share resources, the natural resources, and if we start from the areas where where clearly we have to work together, and I think we have done so, then we will slowly get to that dream which did not happen, which was announced in the 60s but did not happen. Right now, we have a number of bills, and as we mentioned, we had an awakening moment when we did not know that right beside, close to us, there were issues to do with FGM. Recently, we were enlightened, and really it was scary, but also emotional, and the fact that we can do something about it. We hope that, and I urge the House to support that bill, and I believe we will overwhelmingly support it. But we are also going to bring, and I think Honorable Jackie will talk about it, we'll bring the climate change, and we urge the House to support it. We're talking about plastic pollutions. We have a number of
That is, you are not talking about our motion, and our milk has gone down. The 5 minutes have. Thank you. Now we give the floor to Honorable Francine.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I would like also to stand to thank His Excellency Yoweri Museveni for a speech full of wisdom he gave to us as members of Parliament. And I appreciate his unvarying support to the integration agenda. Right, Honorable Speaker, I also support and I thank really the effort that His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni put together with the President of Tanzania at that time and the President of Kenya to revamp the East African community 25 years back. Right, Honorable Speaker, the dream of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is to see this community become a political federation. And this put us at a task as members of Parliament for this time, the 5th Eala, to see what do we have to do to make his dream a reality. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are here as members to do legislation, we do oversight, we have representation, and throughout our mandate, I'm sure, and especially in the pillar regarding prosperity, as he emphasized on, we are here now to put together our hands to see how we can remove the non-tariff barriers, which are always hindering the free movement of people in this community, so that we ease the business in our community. I think and I see that the East African Legislative Assembly, we have all tools around us to make the dream of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni a reality. And I urge all our organs to put together our hands so that we make it, and it is really possible. I stand to support the motion of Honorable Adongo, and I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Francine. Now, the next Honorable Kering.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to support this motion of the speech of our great father, the President of the Republic of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, it was an opportunity to listen to a man who was oozing wisdom, who actually gave us a lot of knowledge. Right Honorable Speaker, I counted myself lucky to have sat in that congregation and to listen to him. And Right Honorable Speaker, among the things that the the president spoke in his speech, and he actually focused on, was actually about prosperity. He also talked about neighborhood, and he talked about security, Right Honorable Speaker. And Right Honorable Speaker, as he spoke about the way he made other people rich, he even told us categorically how he bought the milk of KCC from Kenya. And he actually said he made Kenyans rich. And we actually congratulate him and to say thank you, because maybe we are where we are economically because of him buying our milk. He also talked about the meat that he bought from the United Republic of Tanzania. And I also want to believe the economy of Tanzania right now is where it is because he decided to buy their meat. And this tells us, Right Honorable Speaker, that Yoweri Museveni already knew the importance of neighborhood and the community. And I want to thank the President of Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, that the few days I've been here and I've been able to meet some of the members of parliament. And among them, I have met 4 members of parliament from my community, the Kalenjins, the Sabines from the Sabei area. That tells us Yoweri Museveni walks his talk. We have also the Kalenjins called Murule from Republic of South Sudan. We are yet to go there to find maybe if they are also integrated in the government or they are just there as a group. But Right Honorable Speaker, what he actually insisted about is the security, our security as a community. When he talked about political federation and the way we look at the protocols, it looks like the political federation would have come first, because political federation would mean one market, one air force, one army, and that would bring us together, Right Honorable Speaker. So as I finish, Right Honorable Speaker, I would urge this assembly through the Committee of Regional Integration and to ensure that to fast track the political federation protocol so that we bring it forward and make it a reality in this 5th Eala. I beg to submit and support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Zipora. Now I'll give the floor to Honorable Mugenyi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to join colleagues who have spoken ahead of me to thank, first of all, you for creating this opportunity. Secondly, the Honorable Dongo for bringing up this motion. Mr. Speaker, I proudly stand up to thank my president, because I know on the issues of the East African community, he speaks from his heart. He really means it. And if people could be as patriotic about this community as he is, even half of the population of East Africa, if only we could be as patriotic, you can call it Pan-Africanism, but I think for East Africa, the closeness that we have, the commonalities that we have, I would rather prefer to use the word patriotism rather than Pan-Africanism. President Museveni started his journey as a Pan-Africanist when he was a young man. I remember the first time I saw him, I was in primary school, and he was a student at Dar es Salaam University. And so with a few of his colleagues, I remember 3 young men coming to our village, gathering people, talking to them, and teaching them issues of survival, of strategic survival and security. And from that time, he has never stopped. I believe he started when he was a secondary school student. So he really means what he talks about. Because for those of us who live in Uganda, we have had him. He can never miss an opportunity at any gathering to talk about the importance of the East African community and how we are one people and how we need each other for survival, prosperity, but also for strategic security for all of us. And you know how much he has been involved in the pacification of the different areas of our region. He really means it. He can commit anything to see an African. Uganda is a home for all Africans. It's open. It's open, not just refugees, by the way. Refugees are counted, but Africans from all over are here. We have communities of Africans. You go around, you'll find Eritreans, Somalis, Ethiopians. I can go on and on. They are here. Some of them are political refugees or political people looking for prosperity indeed. And they are free as long as they're Africans. In fact, if anyone bothers either to say why is so and so here or this community is here, sometimes we actually, as Ugandans, get angry when our goods are blocked and he stops us from retaliating. I think you heard him talking about the Tanzanian rice. I think that comes from the fact that Tanzania was blocking our sugar. And so Ugandans said, we need also to block something that Tanzania brings to Uganda. That happens also with Kenya. That happens also with Rwanda. That happens all across our borders, but we can never retaliate. Because our Mzee says, do not do it. You are killing our dream, our African dream. You are ideologically backward. In fact, that's his very favorite word. That is ideological backwardness. So, Mr. Speaker, what I listened to during the address is his usual passion. I am proud that those of us who have been listening to him for a long time, we are actually Pan-Africanists. He's a student of President Nyerere, and he said it even in that speech. And he has also created and converted so many students and individuals, people around this continent. I hope he.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mary Mugenyi. Now we have Honorable Caroline, Honorable Rose.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, to welcome you, Right Honorable Speaker, and honorable colleagues to Uganda. And as emphasized by the Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, please take time to widen, deepen, and all those things. That one, all those, we have to do it. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand in support of the motion as presented by Honorable Odongo. And my points are just a few. I want to say, I thank His Excellency the President. Always, whenever we are here, he's here to welcome us and to give us some bit of his mind, the history of this integration, and why we must, as East Africans, make sure we achieve the political federation. He summarized his points in just three historical missions. Historical because he has been in it. He has been in it right from when he was a student and up to now as a head of state. Right Honorable Speaker, first mission was prosperity. And he asked, where does prosperity come from? So therefore, integration is a matter of survival, life and death. That is it. 2, Strategic mission number 2 was strategic security. The need for political federation as a center of gravity for East Africans. 3, brotherhood, undugu. He said we need brotherhood in order to achieve historical mission 1, prosperity, and 2, strategic security. As simple as that. That's how he summarized his address to us. Right Honorable Speaker, I remember His Excellency on several occasions. In fact, I just want to give an example. One time we had an issue with one of our neighbors. As Commander-in-Chief, he told his soldiers, don't shoot. And the reason was simple. When you shoot, you'll shoot your brother across. He said you might shoot your brother across, and indeed that is true. You cannot shoot across to Kenya because we are one. We have brothers there, we have Bateso. Ites are there, the Luo are in Kenya. We are here in Uganda, the Luo, Ateso, and all those other tribes, like Honorable Kering was saying here. We cannot shoot across South Sudan because across there we have the Toposa, they are part of Atekel. We have the Luo, they are there, we are here. So the Kakwa, they are here in Uganda. So we are one, why shoot across the border? All the same to Rwanda, the same to Congo. We are one, so he has demonstrated that we cannot fight. There should be no wars between East Africans because we are one. We are just one people. So as legislators, what do we do? So these 3 historical missions have been summarized into 4 pillars of integration. The customs union, the common market, the monetary union, and ultimately the political federation. That's exactly what he explained. So as legislators, we have a duty to make sure all these pillars are achieved during our time as legislators of the East African community. Right Honorable Speaker, once more to thank His Excellency the President for his precise address to us, emphasizing the need for political integration as survival. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and once more, welcome to Uganda.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I give the floor to Honorable Fatuma.
Is it on? Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. And I really wanted to start with an AOB. When I look at the screen, it says East African Legislative Assembly, first meeting, 5th session of 4th Assembly. I think it should be 5th Assembly, because you know this will feed the media. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to start by really appreciating His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, for his excellent address, but also for giving us time. I think he gave us almost an hour of his time. And for a president, that is not something that we should take for granted. And I also want to really say that we are happy as East African Legislative Assembly to have heard from a man who has lived the ideals of integration, because he took us through the history of integration. And when I looked at the gift he gave us, I hope you had time to read through it. It was a gift, it was an extract of a newspaper. It was called Uganda, August of 6 June, 1963. So you can imagine from that time to now.
Were you born at that time?
No, Mheshimiwa. Even the Republic of Kenya was not independent by that time. So almost 61 years down the line, and that time our leaders, the founding fathers of our community, By that time, it was Prime Minister Milton Obote. Kenyatta, who was also Prime Minister of Kenya. Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was President of Tanganyika. And the meeting they had in Nairobi to discuss integration and committed to East African integration over 60 years down the line. And one of the words that touched me is that they pushed they pushed the British to ensure that it granted independence to the Republic of Kenya with no conditionalities. And for Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, he was even ready to delay the independence of Tanzania so that other nations within the region would be independent. And this resonates really with the patriotism and Pan-Africanism that the president talked about in the three historic commissions that he shared with us. The president, in simple terms, explained to us what integration means to a lay person. Sometimes we complicate matters, and that's where we get wrong, especially the bureaucrats and technicians. And I think we as legislators, we should borrow a leaf from him and use the same terminology, the same way of delivering the message on integration to our people. Because at the end of the day, East Africa is a people-led community. We don't have to be sophisticated to be heard. I think it was so clear why we need integration, the importance of markets, the common market. We need to trade among ourselves. We need to remove the barriers. He reminded us about the brotherhood, the undugu. What unites us is far greater than what divides us. And that is also echoes our slogan of one people and one destiny. Right Honorable Speaker, I also recall in his address, he emphasized the issue of strategic security. And for me, I realized that strategic security is critical to the attainment of political federation. And strategic security should be understood to go beyond the traditional security of securing our borders to also include wealth creation, prosperity of our people, making sure that our people benefit from integration, but also the aspect of human security. Of Banyamulenge, of Banyarwanda, speaking people who are forced to be there just because of the borders and the partition of Africa that was not done by us as Africans. Let's sit and look at this elephant in the room and candidly talk about these conflicts, because at the end of the day, we are one people and one destiny. With those remarks, Right Honorable Speaker, I support the motion, and I want to pray that as we celebrate 25 years of an anniversary of East African community, let's look at all the speeches of our leaders from the time this assembly was created in 2001, and have a sitting to interrogate these speeches. I'm happy that the Secretary General is here, so that we can be guided. We don't need to fidget, because this is the vision of our leaders. And then we say, let's take stock of what we've been able to achieve, lessons learned, and then what do we do in the next 25 years, and so guided by the vision of our leaders. We need to sit, Right Honorable Speaker, Secretary General, let the organs and institutions of the community have a reflection based on the guidance of our leaders. and let's take integration to our people. I'm happy that students are seated in the gallery because these are the future leaders of this community. Let's go to our people and preach integration, but let's walk the talk as His Excellency guided. With those many remarks, I want to support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Ndangiza. Now, Honorable Magembe, then Amongin.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for yielding the floor to me and thank you for the opportunity. Right, Honorable Speaker, I'd like to first start by thanking you and the Commission for making this sitting here in Kampala, Uganda, during these hard times. And it is especially during these hard times, these tough financial times, that we must be seen to be doing our job. We must be visible. We must sensitize the community on the importance of the legislature and the community as a whole. So kudos to you and the Commission. Honorable Speaker, I am humbled and I am blessed to have sat through the speeches of 5 members of Summit during my 7 years here at Eala. President Museveni, His Excellency the late President Magufuli, President Kagame, Mwamba, President Ndishimye, and President Ruto. The one thing that you pick up from all the speeches of our heads of state and members of Summit is that they are extremely committed to the community. And they understand more than all of us its importance and the need for its survival and for it to flourish. And this is something that I wish that we as leaders in the Secretariat, in the legislature, could also follow. Right, Honorable Speaker, I've had the pleasure of listening to 2 speeches by His Excellency President Museveni. The first time in 2018, when I was a young man of 34 years old, President Museveni came in here, humble man. He was wearing a big round hat, which he took off in respect to the House. And he gave a very, very passionate speech. We had just come from a very difficult election of a speaker, and he gave a speech which I believe brought us together as a House. It was the beginning of the House coming together. Last week, again, I listened to him, and he was extremely passionate. Sorry, let me go back a bit. When we met in 2018, he gave us his autobiography. I think the book is called Sowing the Mustard Seeds. I read about 80% of it. Very, very well articulated book. And I'm now even, I really, really need to finish it. It's a very, very good book. I don't have too much time these days with all the campaigning and businesses, you know, we're growing up, but I will find time to read it. So he gave us his book, and as Honorable, I think Honorable, is it Balozi Fatuma or Mheshimiwa Rose said, he also gave us a newspaper showing us the history. And this time again, he gave us a beautiful placard, which I have put in my office at home already. This is a man who cares deeply, deeply about this community. And he gives priority to us as a parliament because he knows that we are the representatives of the people. He spoke at great lengths on us being Wandugu. And he touched me also because he spoke about the Pare people. He said that in Taveta, in Kenya, you have people who are similar to people in Tanzania. When I go to Taveta, I speak Kipare and they understand me completely. It's absolutely the same language. So we truly are one people. But in order to show how important integration is, he used the words which I think 3 members of parliament here have used. I think Honorable Caroline, Honorable Balozi Fatuma said, it's a matter of life and death. It really is a matter of life and death. No country within the community can survive without each other. We need each other as a market. We need each other for security. And when you find such a great, great man speaking for hours, he spoke, I think, for an hour or two, he spoke about the importance of integration. He even had to go up and take a short break and came back and made the same point. It is important for us as legislators, it is important for the Secretariat, for us to take it to heart and follow through on the promise and on the vision of these great leaders of ours who have come before.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Magembe, Dr. Magembe. Now, Honorable Amungin.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I am very much honored this morning to talk about the man, and a man full of wisdom, a great father, not only of Uganda, but of the continent. A person who speaks, and when he speaks, you only pick wisdom. And that is none other than His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I remember 20 years ago when I was still a student leader, the President of the Republic of Uganda, in our umbrella organization as they use at the African Union, emphasized to the young people then, and I want to relate that to the debate we are having today, that being a youth is not only just about biology, but it should be an issue of ideology. And from him, he has been able to be a mentor not only of young people in Uganda, but across the continent. I salute His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the President in his speech to the first sitting of the 5th Assembly of the East African Legislative Assembly emphasized on the vision for the East African community, which involved on prosperity and strategic security. He also linked his speech to the 4 pillars of the integration, that if these 4 pillars of integration have to be achieved, which involves common market, the customs union, the common currency, and the ultimate political federation, we have to be very strategic in our approach. And His Excellency, the President of Uganda, did not only end at that. He went ahead and talked about how the whole of East Africa, almost the whole of Africa, is interlinked and related. And that's when he was able to give some examples on how Uganda, not him as the president alone, but as Uganda, was able to cooperate with Tanzania, cooperate with Kenya, cooperate with South Sudan, DRC, Somalia, Rwanda, Burundi, and name all the East African community countries in terms of trade. I know the gift that the President of Uganda gave us while we were in the State House was very strategic and very important for us as the people who are occupying the space now. That in whatever engagement that we deal in, it's important to be reflective of our forefathers' dreams. Our forefathers were keen to ensure that politics of identity was not there. It was politics of tribes wasn't there. It was politics of being East Africans and of being Africans. And that's why when he gave an example of trade in market, trading in milk, for example, in Ankole. He related it that all Ankole people produce milk. So if he has to be strategic, he has to deal with other people who do not produce milk so that he can have market for the milk. And therefore, as the East African community members, our forefathers' vision of pursuing a common currency is still on our agenda. It has to be something that should be expedited so that as East Africans move within the region, they are able to move freely and use a common currency. And I think this is an area that the president emphasized, but it's an area that is still pending within the East African region. His Excellency, the President of Uganda, emphasized on an area of Pan-Africanism, patriotism, socio-economic transformation, and eventually democracy. I know, as I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, as a region, we have been able to go almost through the 2 phases of the pillars of integration. But for the region to formally function, we have to expedite these 4 areas that were founded by our forefathers as the pillars of the integration, but also ensuring that the East African people can enjoy their human rights within the region, because this was already started by our forefathers, who were already mentioned by His Excellency, the President. As I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like, in a special way, to congratulate the President of the Republic of Uganda, my President, for the words of the wisdom to the members of the East African Legislative Assembly. And I pray that as we sit in this house, we are able to keep on reflecting on all these speeches that have been made by the different heads of states of the different member countries, so that together we can champion the cause of our great forefathers. Right Honorable Speaker, I support the motion as moved by Honorable Odongo George. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, before we start with the next list, our microphones have been set to 5 minutes. When 5 minutes are done, you can continue talking, but on TV, they will see you as talking, but they will not be listening to you. So try to...
Information, Mr. Speaker, information.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, if you use that microphone at the front, you can actually press and extend your own time. So unless, that's what the Honorable Mongin did. So unless the clerk switches it off, she will press again and continue to speak. So I just wanted to give that information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's why she left the place. She left the seat she was before, because she knows the house. She has been here before.
So she was able to do much more than the 5 minutes. And
look, before she was sitting beside Honorable Kadogo, then she left. She went there because she knew that she could go beyond 5 minutes. Anyway, before we continue, let me recognize we have guests in the gallery. It will be just to recognize them. Oh. We have students who came from different districts. We have students and teachers from St. James High School, which is located in Iganga district in eastern part of Uganda. Please, let's recognize them. Please stand for recognition. Thank you. We have also students from the Windsor School, which is located in Wakiso district, which is in central part of Uganda. Please stand for recognition. Ah, they're that side. Oh, good. Look, they're still, they're all 5 and 6 years. These are our future. It's good for them to be here. And thank you. Thank you. You can sit. With this, let's take the second group of speakers. Clerks, take the names. Did you take them all? Did you see Honorable Kakoza? At the other side, he's still waiting for you to.
Nice, that speaker.
I have the list now. We have Honorable Jacqueline. Again. Oh, okay. We have our Secretary General, who will be number 1. Then we'll have Kibea and the Honorable Mukulia Kennedy. You didn't write his name well. Huh? Then we have Honorable Gladness. Then we have Honorable Kim Guy, Francoise, Kakoza, Machano, and Victor. Let's start with our Secretary General. You have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to speak. Allow me at the very outset to thank you, Honorable Speaker, for rendering your apology earlier. Indeed, I wondered whether or not you did not recognize that being the first female Secretary General is an important feat, and seeing the young students up there, and as a mother, I will tell you, they're older than 6 years. They're probably 10, 11,
really?
Going up.
Oh.
It is important for them to know that they too can be Secretary Generals. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I did not have the opportunity to be present when the President addressed Eala, but I have had a moment to read through his speech. But I was also present not too long ago when he was in Nairobi, Kenya, and was able to endorse the candidature of the AUC candidate of East Africa. Honorable Speaker, I must say that I resonate very well with the remarks and reflections that have been stated here by the honorable members, that indeed His Excellency, the President of Uganda, echoes a lot of wisdom in his statements. But also, honorable members and honorable Speaker, he really values his cows. Honorable members, I was able to pick up 3 issues that the President emphasized on. Number 1, the need for prosperity through the integration of our markets and broadening of the same. Secondly, strategic security, which is an ever-growing concern. And thirdly, political federation. All these echo very well and resonate with our 4 pillars and indeed our priorities of deepening and widening our integration. Honorable members, Honorable Speaker, allow me to echo the words of Honorable Fatma that even as we celebrate our Silver Jubilee in November, and indeed all of us, the organs and the partner states are invited to the celebrations which are at top gear, it is a moment to look back and to reflect and ask ourselves, what will we value more? Is it our national interest or regional benefits? I do hope that the regional benefits will supersede. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we are committed as a secretariat to ensure that we uphold the wise words of His Excellency, the President of Uganda. We work together as one of the organs of the community, and I invite us to reflect on the journey that led to the breakup of the community in 1977. You will see it was very small issues that could have been addressed. It was days of application. It was an agreed upon budgets. It was border disputes. It was inter-partner state relations. With these very few words, I want to thank you. Allow me, before I sit, to register our apologies of our council members. There are very many conflicting activities, and we hope to coordinate better as we proceed with our calendars. Thank you very much, and with this, allow me to support the motion by the honorable member. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary General. Now we go to Honorable Kibeya.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, to give me the opportunity to add my voice to support the motion from Honorable Odongo about the speech, very rich, from His Excellency, the President of Republic of Uganda. I may allow me, one point about the ultimate political federation. And for this, I remember the gift given to us of the extract from this journal, this newspaper, the August of June 1963, meaning 61 years ago. And it was written that it was a thought of 40 years at that right time, meaning now more than 1 century. Remembering that he thought that the first experience of white people coming toward Africa was about 40 years, 400 years before experiencing a white man coming to Uganda, and recommended to prepare for a global competition. If we want to survive, let us start it right now. Let us not wait the other communities to take us, East Africans, as a reservoir of genes. If we don't go to compete, we don't go to be at the forefront of the global competition by uniting together, we cannot punch. This speech is very rich, showing us that we have to fast track the 3 pillars: custom union, common market, monetary union, and we are late for that, in order to realize a thought of more than 1 century from our fathers, from our leaders, among them Julius Nyerere, that was on that picture, Jomo Kenyatta, and Obote, from the 3 founding countries of the new East African community. It is now for my honor now to support the motion so that our children, our future, our community can survive through this global competition. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Kibea. Now, Honorable Mukulia. Hi. You have a good microphone.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to obey time, and I will stick to the time given or below that. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and the Commission first for bringing the plenary to Uganda, Kampala. That was a very wise decision of the Commission. Equally, I want to thank the members of Uganda chapter for the warm welcome that you have accorded to us. And this is indeed a great opportunity that we are surely in Kampala, the Pearl of Africa. And it's indeed an opportunity for us to be able to also kind of integrate in terms of visiting the communities. Many of us have been going out. And again, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we are here also to be able to deliberate on what we have come to do. However, Mr. Speaker, what puzzles me is that when you look at the function that are bestowed on the summit, and that is Article 11, that the summit shall give general direction in terms of how the community moves. But Mr. Speaker, as we speak to ourselves, we do not have the council in front of us. This is something that I feel I'm not comfortable about. We should be having the council here. Let me refer you to the speech of the president when he said we support the African common market. They call it the common, they call it the continental free trade area. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, when we were supposed to consider one of the bill that is to be able to operationalize the East African Monetary Union, there was no single minister, not even a half a minister. It's not there. And this tells you where the direction of the community is going. If the summit members are so committed to the integration agenda, and people who are bestowed with the function of being, especially when you look at Article 14 of the treaty, which is that the council shall be the policy organ of the community, then who are we talking to? Who are the policy organs of this community? It's the council, and the council is missing here. We have had an apology from the SG that the council members are not around because of conflicting. By the way, for your information, SG, almost all our countries have 2 ministers in charge of EAC. 2. If not 2, a country has 1 minister, but that minister is only solely responsible for East African community affairs. So that is something that we need to look at seriously. And many members said here that they are they are saying that President Museveni said he's a student of Julius Nyerere. Personally, I'm his student. Being his student, I feel that the council should be the one hearing what President Museveni was telling us, so that they take into consideration what the summit takes about this community, what the council members are really looking at this community. I mean, the summit members. So we need to collectively, as East Africa, the executive, the secretariat, including the council and the legislators, to be able to take the speeches of these presidents. We are in Kenya, we are in Rwanda, we are in Bujumbura, and we heard what all these leaders of the community are talking about. The integration agenda is key in their mouth, but we do not have that policy-making organ taking the integration agenda seriously. Mr. Speaker, I beg to support the motion that was brought in by Honorable George Odongo in terms of giving tribute to the president in terms of what he has told us. I support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mukulia Kennedy. Thank you, Honorable Mukulia. The next is, but before I go to the next, you know, our ministers, our honorable ministers, I don't know if they had looked at our program, but they had two papers to lay. They had this report of Council of Ministers on the management letters and financial statements for the East African community organs and institutions for financial year ended 30th June 2023, and this report of a Council of Ministers on the foreign and security policies of the East African community for the period 2021-2024. And no one was there to lay the papers. Neighbor Kennedy.
It's right, Honorable Speaker, since you've raised that issue, I'd also be just seeking a clarification, because as per our order paper also, there are questions that are addressed.
Yes,
to
it's
the council.
it's not only this.
So I don't know how we'll proceed when they are not here. I submit, right, Honorable.
Thank you. This was the next item, but for this morning, there was no one. We hope that when we will have to reach this item about the questions, we hope they'll be around. And they can send any to replace the chair of the
Yes,
chair of the Council of Ministers.
Mr. Speaker, in line with that, I wanted for CTC to guide us. Is it procedural right for this assembly to be conducted in absence of the ministers in view of Article 48 of our treaty? In fact, Mr. Speaker, the article provides that the assembly, it has to be constituted by the members. And according to Article 48, the members of the assembly are the members who are elected from the member states, but also the ex-official members from the partner states. And when we talk of ex-official members from the partner states, includes the ministers and the Secretary General and the CTC. In absence of any member from the Council of the Ministers, is it procedural right for this assembly to continue? Are we constituted as members of the assembly in view of Article 48 of our treaty, Mr. Speaker? I want CTC to guide us.
In addition to that, Honorable Speaker, we also need to know if the CTC to guide us, if we can have sanctions that we can met upon this notorious Council of Ministers, because they are becoming totally notorious. Imagine when we are, the order paper is very clear, it have questions directed to them, none of them, not even one. And we have 7 member states, surely we must have some sanction that we should met upon them. Name and shame.
Honorable members, I give the floor to the CTC, but our members from the RC are all online following. We have checked. They are attending this meeting. Listening to inform you. CTC. Honorable members, have your seat.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. It is true that when you look at Article 48, the composition of the Assembly is set out. Under Article 48, the members and the ex-officials. But for purposes of your sitting, Right Honorable Speaker, and given that you already have rules of procedure which determine your quorum, the applicable rule there is Rule 12, I think, in the old version, and Rule 13 is the new version. And that is what guides you as the speaker to determine quorum, and I believe you have quorum, and therefore it is okay for you to proceed. Beyond that, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Secretary General explained that I'm sure after this meeting we'll be able to make some kind of follow-up to ensure that the ministers are able to attend. I think it was beyond their control. They were committed on other ESC-related activities. So it was not deliberate that they are not here.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of the committee. Let's proceed. Now I give the floor to the next to contribute, who is Honorable Gladness.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I really like to appreciate for the speech which was given by His Excellency, the President of the United Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. It was quite insightful, and it really brought out a lot of emotional sentiments. Honorable Speaker, from that speech, I was able to draw out about 4 issues, which I think is important that we as members of Parliament also to understand. And first, what I understood is that from his speech is that our survival or our sustainability as the East African community will also depend on how we understand the whole aspect or concept of prosperity and be able to define it according to the context of the East African community and understand even at the level of the people of the East African community. So I would like also to encourage my members, my fellow members of Parliament, that we really need to understand or define clearly what is prosperity in East Africa, and that will be our common north. Otherwise, each country, each individual will have their own ways of doing things, and will miss the target, will miss the expectations of integration. Another aspect that came out very clear is that the president is actually a futuristic. He even questioned on whether doing things in an old way will actually take us to where we expect. So with that, I think he's thinking of modernization, and that one came out very clear in his speech. That is, we have really to look back and see how are we doing our things. Yeah, and with the current trends, current global trends, where we talk of image technologies, I think it's high time that even when we make our decisions, we understand that the world is about modernization. So if we are not thinking of modernization, we'll miss our space, we miss our position in the global economy. But also something that came out from his speech, and that I took it very seriously, is the importance of understanding performance, the whole aspect of performance, that despite the fact that we have our countries, we love our countries, and also the udugu that he emphasized, but to him, performance was very important. And he gave one example as far as the efficiency. That is, he was advised, for example, to ban the rice from Tanzania. But his argument was, no, the Ugandans are not efficient. So this is very important if we really want to ensure sustainability and be competitive. That is, performance should never be ignored, and that our decisions should actually be informed by the performance outcomes that we have in our countries, but also in the community. And that will help us to develop very competitive value chains, and even if they be integrated, we'll be able to get greater outcomes than ignoring the issue of performance. But he also mentioned, and he also talked about the importance of understanding each other's comparative advantages. And we should look at it as an opportunity, and we should take advantage of that. So with those few remarks, I would like to say that I support the motion that was brought out by Honorable Odongo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Gladness. This is your first time to speak in the House. Congratulations. Now we go to Honorable Kimigai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am standing here to support the motion raised by Honorable Odongo. Honorable Speaker, I have only 4 points. I will not go through the speech that addressed by His Excellency because the challenges have been addressed by the President. And number one, Honorable Speaker, is the absence of the ministers. Honorable Speaker, we have been in Kigali, in Eala. And one of the bills that have been brought to this House is the bill that we are going to discuss tomorrow. And I remember that bill had been rejected by the Republic of Kenya and the Republic of Burundi. And that time, unfortunately, the share of the summit are sharing by the Republic of Kenya. And even the ministers of Kenya are pronoun herself when we are sitting in Kigali that this bill should be passed by House. Unfortunately, when she go back to Nairobi, she write another letter again and said the Republic of Kenya are reject the bills. And now the same Republic of Kenya, her minister are come when we are in Entebbe. She take us in this House, and she's supposed to interact with the committee and be in this House and defend the position of the Republic of Kenya. But unfortunately, she are not here again. Why not, Speaker? You can see now the head of the state, His Excellency Kaguta Museveni, are giving us a guideline. Who else again when our head of the state are giving us the guidance? Who else again around them again? Why not, Speaker? Even when Honorable Guy raised issue of financial issue, President Museveni said 120 million is not the issue of money. That means we have a problem, and this problem should be addressed. And I assure Honorable Speaker, this Parliament of East African Community, including our Secretary General, we need to interact with the Parliament and Member of Parliament of Uganda, and telling them the community and the minister that accountable, it is accountable by national parliament. So if we are not going to guide them, right now, Speaker, and telling them what is going on in community, we are not going anywhere. Right now, Speaker, the issue of the restricting block in our borders. I want to assure you, Speaker, for us, there are 2 issues here that even my brother, Honorable Odongo, who is chairperson of the Uganda chapter, that even us who are South Sudanese, who are consumer, we accept all the good from region to enter to South Sudan without restricting. But we have only one service and good which come from South Sudan are being blocked also by Uganda, which is the fish. We are exporting fish to Uganda via to DRC via Uganda. Now those trades of fish are being blocked in the border in illegal, and South Sudan are no longer doing business within the community. I think one was Speaker, those issues we need to addressing, and also other one here in Uganda. We have a family here. We have more than 2 million population in Uganda, and the government of Uganda are also cut off SIM card every 3 months. They have to tell you, please, cross border and register again. However, we have a family here. Family that are going to be here for 20 years, for 30 years. How you can restrict them for using SIM card and every 3 months should be cut. Those are issues need to be solved, and I'm very sure that when we are here and we are in this parliament, we are going to interact with the leader of Uganda to solve those issues, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, with this pure remark, I'm supporting a motion, but we have a lot of work to do, particularly Honorable SG. Madam SG, you know you are mother, and when your mother and kid are crying, you are the first victim. So we don't want again to cry under your hand. We want this community to move, but you make sure that the members of the Council of Ministers are on board, are taking their own mandate, not only when they are coming and chopping the budget of the community. They will be there. We have been this community because they are not understanding what's going on in the community. Right now, the Speaker, this matter, if the question to the council, which are related to the community, are not going to be available, who are going to solve the problem of the community? I think we are in this big issue, right now, Speaker. I beg to support the motion, right now, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kim Guy. Now we go to Honorable Francoise. Then Kakoza. What is Kakoza? Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for catching my eye. I rise to, on the onset, congratulate Honorable Odongo for this brilliant and timely motion. And I declare that I was able to follow the proceedings of the Assembly online. Congratulations to the Assembly for being able to do this, and also for the hazard availability of text so that everyone can have access to debate, and congratulate His Excellency.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, there is a house of rules and procedure and order. Honorable Francois said, Francois, sorry, I said that she caught you caught her eye, which should be the other way around. Honorable Speaker, and still on that, Honorable Speaker, our procedures 37 says that a member desirous to speak shall rise in his place or her place and address herself or himself to the Speaker. But what I have seen, you have delegated the role to the clerks. So are we now supposed to, the clerks to see us, or it is you who is supposed to see us, Honorable Speaker?
No, the clerk, they register names only. Then the names are in my are with me. And it's me who is giving the floor to members. She's right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for protecting me. As I proceed, I was thanking Honorable Dongo for this timely motion, and also on the onset, congratulate His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, not the United Republic of Uganda. My dear colleague, gladness, it was just an oversight. And we are just here to recall some good memories. I served Eala 4, I'm serving Eala 5. As you received good memories from him, as said by Honorable Magembe, we also received a good book, Sowing the Mustard Seed. It's a good one. Me, I read it entirely. It's a good one, Mr. Speaker. That's why I would just like to tell just in one sentence that it is a story of unflinching bravery, the story of unwavering search for a true revolutionary and development-oriented leadership. And it's what His Excellency continues to do, to show the tough and wise leadership to the people of East Africa, because EAC is people-centered and also market-driven community. As we continue to congratulate His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, I would also like to say that the wisdom he has been doing the integration agenda granted him a merit to chair the four pillars, the fourth pillar of integration. Not only those ones, but the previous ones, but the one is just kind of custodian to him. Integration, political federation. It's very important what he has been doing. The constitution now we learned through the Committee on Regional Affairs that the constitution is available, and now they are moving towards the integration, what is called confederation, political confederation. You know, EAC is having a lot of challenges. A part of them are political differences, and we have also infrastructure. We have non-tariff barriers and non-tariff measures that need a man of wisdom like His Excellency to lead this political confederation process. It's very important, and as members of parliament, this honor the house, we also need to take, you know, his wisdom to make sure we move at his path. For instance, EAC as a region is still facing issues related to hunger. You know, we have the Committee on Agriculture I chair. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, hunger is a big problem in the community. And as Uganda is a country with enough food, we are here to make sure as we support integration agenda, we also appeal for EAC to be a bloc with equitable and also equity in distribution of food. We have countries of EAC with surplus of food, but others have less. It's now an opportunity to make sure as we go for the good example of good leaders, wisdom, we cooperate and we move forward as a team, as one EAC, but also as one Africa, as said Honorable SG. Thank you very much. On this note, I support the motion and congratulate His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. Thank you.
Now we have the Honorable Machano and Honorable Victor, and we stop there.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity extended upon me, being among members having the floor, appreciating the address by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me first go direct to the point because I have some appreciation and thanks to some other members and the people in Uganda. But let me first go direct to the point. I first want to commend Honorable Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the directive, informative, and by then speech. By then, I can say that that was not a mere speech. It was a lecture to the members. We learned a lot from his speech, and the members here are the witness. That shows how they become happy because of the fruits they got from the address from the His Excellency. Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable President talked much sisters in perspective aspect when he talked about we're supposed to treat this region as a market whereby member states, they produce products, and then we're supposed to use this forum as a good place for that we can sell our goods and help one another. I want to go far from what Mr. President says. We also supposed to use this space for traveling. We need to visit among the partner states. We need to have tourism. We need to be tourists. I just want to take this opportunity to welcome member states, Eala members and the citizens for the East African to visit our beloved country, Tanzania. Please visit Tanzania so that we can enjoy the flavor of mountain Kilimanjaro. Please visit Tanzania. You can enjoy the presence of Ngorongoro and Serengeti. In addition to that, welcome to Zanzibar so that we can enjoy the flavor of the spice of Zanzibar. That I wanted to add to my colleagues. We will enjoy each and everything in our country. That was my submission in line with the address. But before leaving this time you give me, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me take this opportunity to appreciate the kind of humanity, for the people of Uganda, the show is to us. My appreciation is to the people of Uganda and the government. We really enjoy our staying here in Uganda, and we never regret our presence here. Thank you so much. And this is in line with great support and the commitment for our colleagues, members from Uganda chapter. You're really committed. You know how you are making our staying in Uganda busy. We enjoyed this weekend. We visit to Honorable Mary's farm. We learned a lot from there. Then we expect much from you. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me appreciate our commissioners to this parliament, as they have successfully managed to extend their trust and confidence to me and appoint me as the co-chair for the sport. I really appreciate it. And my commitment before this parliament is that together with my chair and other leaders, we are going to make sure our participation become active. Thank you very much. I'm supporting the motion and I submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
That's for more.
Thank you. Now we have Honorable Victor and Honorable Kennedy Kalonzo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the floor. I'd want to take this opportunity to commend and appreciate the speech of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, a rich and educative speech. Right Honorable Speaker, once Nelson Mandela said, thinking is a very important weapon in dealing with problems. I would say that our President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is a thinker. He's an expert in giving insights, in giving directions, in giving guidance to move forward the integration agenda. In his speech, you can find solution and practical answers to every issue that can hinder the integration agenda in all its aspects. So it is in the ball in the court of the council, which is the policy organ, to implement the agenda of integration. They have to follow the guidance. They have to follow the instructions so that we have a better future of East Africans and a good and prosperous Africa, which is more integrated and sovereign. Thank you so much. Support the motion.
Good. Now the Honorable Kennedy Kalonzo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me start firstly by thanking His Excellency President Museveni. Let me also thank our host, Right Honorable Speaker AAA. Let me also thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and your commission for bringing us here, and also to our Ugandan colleagues who have made sure that some of us are not otherwise as homesick as we would be. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to start by saying that I support this motion. I think honestly, after such wisdom, I would have to be insane to not support this motion and the great wisdom we received from our president. I will just focus on one point on prosperity. And for us, I believe to be prosperous, we need to work hard as a community and achieve the common currency that we're always talking about. Right Honorable Speaker and members, when I saw the front bench was missing before we got the apologies from our variable Secretary General, I had imagined to ask her that perhaps they have donated their powers otherwise to enable her to proceed effectively. So maybe Right Honorable SG, as your colleagues wanajipanga, you can take the initiative. I don't know who you need to seek the consensus for, to give us a sample East African currency, just similar to what the BRICS launched recently. And on that, to continue being prosperous, if we can't agree, there is nothing stopping us to having the East African currency and our currencies running concurrently, as was the case in the EU. But I hope you will encourage them to join us. Yeah, and I want to support what Honorable Rose said about prosperity. Those are some of the things we need. She asked, what can we do? And that is one of the answers. But another thing we can do is to continue to work to achieve the domestication and liberalization of our airspace. My brother, Honorable Machano, has invited us to Tanzania, and many East Africans would love to travel. But because we have not domesticated our airspaces, it becomes very expensive. So I think as a way forward, to answer Honorable Mary and what we need to do, if we can achieve those two, we'll have done a great service to the people and citizens of East Africa. So with those many remarks, Right Honorable Speaker, I support this motion. Thank you. I can take the information.
Honorable Speaker, he actually referred that the Council of Ministers will have delegated some powers to the SG. The powers are delegated downwards, not upward. The Honorable SG is the second most powerful person in EAC. So she's the one to delegate to the Council of Ministers, but not delegation upward.
We will not debate that, but before I give the floor to the mover of the motion, I want to remind our last speaker you should go and read the Annex 4 of our, it's about the dress code. Honorable Kennedy Kalonzo, you have to, next time, it's not about your shirt, maybe your trouser. Next time, consider this. Thank you. Now I give the floor to the mover of the motion.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, for overwhelmingly supporting the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, a few things emerged during the debate that I thought I should comment, and then I can finally conclude. First of all, Right Honorable Speaker, the question of participation of council. It is really very, very important. We all understand the power structure of the EAC, and we know the leverage that council has, particularly in ensuring that recommendations of this assembly gain traction. We do not run a state. We are not yet there as EAC, so that we have an East African government, federal government or whatever. We still depend on our sovereign states that are represented here by our members of council. And whatever decisions that this assembly takes, and whatever guidance that we receive from summit, are transitioned to policy, to implementation through council. So council is an indispensable part of the work that the assembly does and the EAC does. And until Council begins to appreciate that leverage, the gaps in our legislative work, in our oversight work, and even in our representation work will remain glaring for a long, long time. And yet, the East Africans can't wait to see the wheels of integration moving. And the dynamo that can move the wheels of our integration is actually the Council of Ministers, because they sit in the cockpit of decision making. And they are the ones who ultimately make the decisions that allow for things to happen in our partner states. So really, we have said this for a long time. You can have an excuse for the first time and it is understood. You can then have another for the second time, it's also understood. But if this becomes an occurrence and there are matters that you address that even exclude you from participating in a forum that is being addressed by Summit, who is your appointing authority, then I think there is an element of contempt. I begin to read a sense of contempt for the work of the Assembly, but also contempt for the Summit itself. It is a very serious matter, and we cannot casually just take it because there has been an apology that has been conveyed. In fact, the Secretary General has been gracious to convey that apology. But under normal circumstances, Right Honorable Speaker, this House should have read out some sanctions. And it is still within our powers as an assembly, because these are members of our assembly, to come out with a sanctions regime for non-participation of people who are members. Right Honorable Speaker, the speeches that have been made here during the debate have centered on the primacy of people as the key drivers of our integration. And during the struggle for African liberation, I remember Frelimo, the Front for the Liberation of Mozambique. They were housed in, they were for a large part being hosted by Mwalimu Nyerere. And they moved to some place called Nachingwea, which has actually become a melting pot for African liberation studies, Nachingwea in Tanzania. Right Honorable Speaker, as the mover of the motion, I'm just doing the summaries, so you will give me the, I beg your indulgence. When Samora Machel took over the leadership of Frelimo and he was addressing the media, journalists asked him one question. They said, why has Frelimo been very successful? And that was in 1982, after the collapse of the Portuguese government in Mozambique. He said, here our power is consolidated. It is indomitable. This is because it is dependent on the people. People do not defend abstractions. They defend concrete things. A piece of land, they defend schools, they defend roads. And he said the revolution is concrete too, and the enemy is concrete too. Our people in East Africa would want to see how we translate this vision to something concrete that they begin to experience, they begin to feel, they begin to be satisfied about. And the president challenged us in his speech to say we must make trade real. We have got to remove the non-tariff barriers. During the course of this week, we are most likely going to engage with the private sector. And I am glad that invitations have been extended. the Right Honorable Secretary General, who has done excellently well for the time that she has been there, and we must congratulate her, will formally be addressing the CEOs Forum and the private sector. The private sector players would want to see that this assembly does its work. And this is in line with the speech of the president, that we fight to remove non-tariff barriers, that we fight to ensure that there is compliance to the legal regime that we have prepared, that we have passed as an assembly, that we try to facilitate trade so that we can deepen our trade relations and have prosperity shared, because we have a trickle-down model where when the business people are doing well, we provide market for the lower people. So the whole value chain takes advantage of the seamless integration, especially trade integration. So we have a role to play. And because people do not defend abstractions, they actually defend real things. So we must translate this talk into real things that East Africans can begin to benefit from. Right, Honorable Speaker, and that brings me to the comment by Honorable Kim Guy about the fish that the Honorable Kim said that the Ugandan authorities are blocking the South Sudanese from exporting fish to the Democratic Republic of Congo. We will take it up with the authorities to understand the nature of the problem and find a means of resolving them. Because as a country, our first line of defense has always been to integrate deeper. So we want to facilitate trade, and we are definitely going to do everything within our means to see that we work together with the South Sudanese authorities and our own frontline managers here of the borders to ensure that we resolve this matter. If it's a policy issue, it will be resolved. On the matter of SIM cards being cut after 3 months, again, this is something that we shall raise with the relevant institutions here to understand the nature of the problem and also be able to fast track the resolution of that problem. Otherwise, I want to thank you, honorable members. You know, Africa is a big continent with a big population, and we should be doing more. The Western world constitutes only 12% of the global population, only 12%. And yet they are using the economic, military, cultural power to dominate the world. We need to flip that dominance the other way around, and it can only happen when we become more sophisticated and become more integrated so that our response is cohesive. We are acting as one people so that we can grow our economies to begin to be competitive. So we have to embrace this regional integration, but also embrace the Africa Free Continental Trade Area to open up our trade with Africa and make sure that prosperity is driven across Africa. I would like, therefore, to thank the following people. Honorable Ole Sankok, Honorable Kadogo, Honorable Ambassador Matthias, Honorable Kanini Kega, Honorable Gideon Gatpan, Honorable Siranda Gerald, Honorable Caroline Kayonga, Honorable Francine Rutazana, Honorable Zipora Kering, Honorable Mary Mujenyi, Honorable Rose Akol, Honorable Fatuma Ndangiza, Honorable Magembe, Honorable Jacqueline Amongin, the Honorable Secretary General, the Honorable Dr. Kibeya, Honorable Kennedy Mukulia, Honorable Gladness, Honorable Kim Guy, Honorable Francois, Honorable Machano, Honorable Victor Burikipiwe, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. And as I conclude, I want to thank the Right Honorable Secretary General for pointing out one critical element, to say 25 years is a quarter a century. If you give birth to a child at the age of 25, that's a very responsible man or woman. By this time, we should be a responsible community, taking care of our own, picking our own bills. So 25 years of the EAC calls for reflection indeed, to see what are we doing right, what is it that we are not doing right, and propose solutions. And they should be actionable solutions. They should be within our means, and we should try to recommit again to ensure that the next quarter is a completely different quarter for the community, that we can become much more stronger, so that the words of President Yoweri Museveni and the other leaders in the EAC, President Kagame, President Ndayishimiye, President Salva Kiir, President Tshisekedi, President Dr. Ruto, come to fruition. And Dr. Mama Suluhu Samia, come to fruition. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Honorable members, you were 24 to support this motion. In Kenya,
Right Honorable Speaker, I forgot to mention one name, and for the purposes of answer. And that gentleman is the chair of my committee of legal. Chances are that he may also delete me from the committee. The Honorable Mashaka Ngole, the chair of the Committee of Legal Rules and Privileges. Asante sana.
Thank you. You were 24 to support this motion, when in Kenya, we had been 26, meaning that you really follow our leaders. And maybe before putting the question, maybe because our guests, we have received others guests, they want maybe to go back to school. We have in the gallery from Kampala Parent School, we have students and teachers who are with us now to observe the proceedings, and they could stand up to be recognized by the honorable members. They're all young people. I'm sure that among them, within maybe, I don't know how many years, 20, 30, 40, I'm sure that among them it will be some who will be sitting here as member of parliament of this country of Uganda. So thank you. Now, let me put the question that this assembly do resolve to record its comments to appreciate the address of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, on the rational vision and guidance regarding the EAC integration during his address to the East African Legislative Assembly on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024. Those who are in favor say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. With this, we are done. Clerk? Oh. Yes. The clerk has informed me Honorable members, I have been informed that we have no minister to respond to our questions, meaning that we'll have to reconsider program again. And we have a meeting today. We'll consider it. So with this, I have to adjourn this. Oh, consider. Yes, Honorable Kanini Kiga.
Honorable Speaker, before you adjourn, I will seek your indulgence because as the chair of the Interparliamentary Games and my co-chair, Honorable Speaker, I thought it would be important to just remind the members that we need to start proper training. We have tried as much as possible. Like today, we were quite a number of us. But I also want to remind members, Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, that on the 6th of December, we will be going to Mombasa for the Interparliamentary Games. This time round, there is no plenary, there is no committee. So it will be games. And for you to participate, for you to go there, you must at least participate because this is basically games. So it is very important that you be registered. You must be I'm the chair. You must be registered in at least one discipline. Because why then would you go to Mombasa? It is basically because of games. So this time round, we beseech members kindly. Every morning we are training from 6 or even before 6. It is even good for your health. Kindly make sure that you identify a sporting activity and register to be a participant in that discipline. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. We have what?
I think what we've communicated about the absence of ministers, I think the Secretary General also should help us to know, because most of the reports.
You were, Honorable Kakoza, we have closed that debate. You were not in?
I'm not talking about the debate, but I'm talking about the absence of ministers.
We talked about that. You were not in. Even you missed your, yes. Honorable Caroline, Honorable Rose. Thank you. So, honorable members, let's adjourn this sitting to Wednesday, 30th of October at 9 a.m. in this chamber. Thank you.
Where we met